I'm going to show you exactly how a professional producer, myself, makes a lo-fi beat in Ableton. I'm going to use only Ableton stock sounds so you can follow along every single step of the way. And then at the end, I'll give you guys a little bonus and show some of you musicians out there how you can add a little guitar or a little bass to really take your lo-fi song to the next level. I love making lo-fi because it's so simple. I honestly believe anybody can produce lo-fi music. And once you learn the formula and you practice making some for yourself, I think you'll be making some music that you're super happy with in no time at all. So go ahead and open up Ableton and we will get started. Also, if you have never produced before or you've been at this for a while and you're trying to learn something new, I think there'll be something in this video for all skill levels. So stick with me. First thing I want to do is I want to set the BPM of our project to a good lo-fi tempo. BPM just means beats per minute. It's how fast or slow the song is. So right up here to the left in Ableton, it says 120. I'm going to click on that and type in 170 and press enter. And right here is our metronome. We can turn that on and press enter and we can hear how fast our song is. So where do we get started for lo-fi? Well, for pretty much all music, you can use the 5-element formula, which is drums, bass, mids, which for lo-fi is going to be like guitar and piano, vocals, if we want to use vocals, and effects. Drums, bass, mids, vocals, and effects. And for lo-fi, we're really going to focus on drums, bass, and mids. And right now, we're going to start with some drums, and we're going to go to the left here in Ableton where it says drums, and we're going to make sure we open up drum hits here, and we're going to look for a kick. Now, there's a kick I know that I love called kick bricks. Oh yeah, got good low end, it's really punchy. And all I want you to do is just drag it onto a new track right here. Next up, we're going to press Command T, and that's going to make a brand new track. Now I want to find some sort of snare. Let's go ahead and open up snare. I'll look through here. That's not bad. Oh, that might work. Let's try that one. Snare celebrate. I'm just going to shorten it down by dragging the clip edge. I'm going to zoom in by going to the gray area up here, clicking and dragging down. And now we can fade out the edge of this clip just by hovering and dragging this little square over. That one's decent. I'm going to keep looking for another option. Ooh, that one is nice. That is like the quintessential lo-fi noise right there. Let's just use one. We'll keep it nice and simple for you guys. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to try and build out a pattern with these two samples, and we want it to be 2 bars long. A bar is just a 4 count, so that's 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And I want my pattern to go like this. And if you're wondering how I got that kick to appear right here, I just clicked on the sample and pressed Command C, clicked where I wanted it to go, and I pressed Command V and pasted it. Super duper simple. You know what? Let's actually make a 4-bar section. So I'm just going to highlight all these drums, press Command D to duplicate them, and now we got a 4-bar section. We can highlight it, press Command L, and that's just going to loop it. Now for this kick right here at the end, I want to finesse the pattern a little bit and add in an extra note. Okay, so I wanted to do sort of a triplet style kick. And to do that, all we have to do is press Command 3. That's going to enable this triplet grid. And to make the grid get finer or more coarse and spread apart, you just hold Command and press 1 or 2. And I'm going to press Command 3 to go back to the regular grid. And now we have a pretty cool pattern. All right, let's get some sort of hi-hat or some kind of shaker going. All right. Let's try shaker acoustified. Once again, all I'm doing is just pressing Command T to make a new track. I'm just dragging samples directly onto that track. Once I have the sample the length that I want it to be, I could just press Command D. That's an easy way to extend your pattern. Holy cow, that is loud. Turn that down, I can just click on the fader here to the right and use the arrow keys. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the metronome. Okay, so that's our basic pattern, but what's a step we can do to give it a little bit more feel and sort of finesse, make it a little bit more humanized? So glad you asked. Over here to the right, we have this little circle with the D in the middle of it. Don't make any jokes. And when we click on that, you'll see this new area pop up here, and we can shift the whole track to the right or to the left using this. So we can make our shaker a little bit delayed. Listen to this now. All of a sudden, our drums have feel. This is like right on the grid. And then this way, it's just a little bit shifted. But I think somewhere around 30 or 40. We'll give it just enough feel to sound cool. So I'd say that's probably pretty good for our drums. Maybe for our shaker, we can put it inside of a room. So let's go to reverb, which is under audio effects. We'll go to room. Let's try drums room. All I did was just drag it right onto this track here, and I'm playing with the dry wet. Okay, so we've got our drums. Remember the formula? Drums, bass, mids, vocals, and effects. So let's go ahead and we can either add bass or we can add some mids. I think as far as writing chords, might be a bit easier to do mids first. Now, if you don't know anything about music theory, rest assured I have a video that will teach you everything you need to know when it comes to music theory as a producer. So if you want to learn music theory, just go ahead and click right here, open up that video in a new tab, learn the theory that you need, and come back here when you're ready to do your mids. Let's press Command-Shift-T, and that's going to make a new MIDI track. And let's highlight this whole 4-bar section, and we'll press Command-Shift-M, and that's going to make a new MIDI clip on the track. And you'll see when you make that the piano roll is going to pop up down here. If it doesn't, just double click on the MIDI clip, and then we can go here to Instruments, and we can go to Instrument Rack, we can go to Piano and Keys, and sample some of these. Ooh, that one's nice. If you're not hearing these sounds, just click the little headphone icon right here. All right, so let's just drag this right onto our MIDI track, double click on the clip, and we can draw in some chords. I wanna do a 2-5-1 major 6 progression. If you don't know what that is, like I said, go watch the music theory video. I'm gonna do that in the key of G. What I like to do is draw the root note of all my chords first, and then expand them from there. And then the last chord I want it to hit right here. Okay, I'm gonna press Command-A to select all the notes, hold Option, and drag. I'm moving these 7 steps up, and then 8 more steps up from there. Some of these need to be moved up a half step, like this, like this, like this. Once again, I can't cover all this stuff in this video, but I'm just making these chords. Cool. So I'm going to play with this release and this delay and reverb a bit. Okay, so if you'll notice, the sound is just really loud, so I'm just going to turn it down. Then another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sidechain it with the kick. Now, if you don't know this technique, this is going to upgrade your production so much. Real quick, if you're enjoying this video at all, and you feel like you're learning something, I would genuinely appreciate it if you consider subscribing and just giving me the chance to help you make the best music that you're capable of. Seriously, I would be honored, so please consider it. Okay, back to the video. But real quick before that, I have made a grave mistake. Command-S, I forgot to save my project. I do this all the time in my videos because I get so excited to make the video. Let's go ahead and label this, and then press Enter to save, and then press Save, and then go ahead and go to File, Collect All and Save. Make sure all these are yellow and press OK. That's going to make sure it saves all of these samples within your project folder. So if you ever need to share this or open it on another computer, everything's in one place. It'll make your life so much easier. All right, let's get into that sidechaining thing that I mentioned earlier. So just drag a compressor onto that MIDI track that piano is on, this guy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to expand it, clicking the triangle, click sidechain, and go to audio from kick bricks, which is our kick, turn EQ off, ratio up all the way, attack all the way down. Click this bent line here, and then we'll play with the threshold. Now notice as I bring it down, it's kind of ducking in volume in the beginning. That's because this is routed to the kick up here. And what this technique does is when the kick is playing, this piano noise is ducking in volume, which makes the kick cut through the mix way more, and it just sounds really dope. We can click on this little circle right here to the left and open up this whole piano sound, and we can really start playing with these mods in here and making it crazy. It's like we're making dubstep now. Anyway, I don't want it to do anything too crazy, but I do want to encourage you, if you're dragging in sounds, just to expand them and kind of play with the parameters. You can come up with a lot of happy accidents. But for now, let's dive into bass. Press Command-Shift-T, it's going to make a new MIDI track. Let's go ahead and click on our synth MIDI clip, press Command-C to copy it, click at the beginning of our new bass track right here, and press Command-V. Now we have the same notes on both. I'm going to double click to open up this bass so we can see it on the piano roll. And I'm just going to delete all of the higher notes, and we will keep all of the low notes. Then I'm going to go to Instruments. We will go to Simpler, go to Bass. Oh, that's kind of a cool bass. I was gonna use B bass, because this bass is just great. Let me show you what it sounds like. All right, it's way too high. Let's just select all these notes here. Hold Shift and press the down arrow. That will lower the notes 1 octave at a time. All right, I want to play with some options here for the pattern. Just trying some stuff out. So another thing we want to do with this bass is we definitely want to sidechain it to the kick, just like we did with the synth. So we can even copy that exact compressor from the synth just by clicking on it, pressing Command C, going back to our bass right here, and pasting it right here where it says Drop Audio Effects. Just click and press Command V. A bit loud, so let's just turn it down. Great, it's actually starting to sound like a lo-fi song. Another thing we can do is we can sample a bunch of different sounds super easily. Now that we have our pattern drawn in, we can just click on these arrows right here in this circle to the right, and that's gonna bring up this hot swap option, and then we can sample these different sounds and double click on one, and that will switch it out. I actually kind of love that bass. Now I kind of want some sort of sound that's following this shaker. So what I can do is I can either make a new MIDI track, Command-Shift-T, make a new MIDI clip, Command-Shift-M. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and copy these same chords from our other one, paste them on there. And what I would do is I would highlight all these, hold Shift and use the left arrow key to shorten everything, then use the right arrow key, and then hold Option and just drag these out, just like this. Find some sort of maybe guitar noise. Let's see, does Ableton even have any guitars? Let's try oscillation guitar. I'm going to drag that right onto this MIDI track. Press solo. All right, I'm going to play with some of these. I'm going to go ahead and go to Audio Effects. Let's drag on EQ8, and I'm going to scoop out some of these lows just by clicking on this high pass filter and dragging the one up. All right, it's seeming a little bit too mid-range heavy, and it's kind of conflicting with our E piano, the other mid noise in there. So I'm going to press Command A, hold Shift, and press the up arrow. Try it an octave higher. Now, this is where you can really get experimental, try some stuff out if you're a musician. If you're not, don't sweat it. Just do what I've been doing. It's all Ableton sounds. You have access to all of this if you have Ableton. And they have a 30-day free trial. You can try it out, see if you like it. But if you play an instrument, go ahead and press Command T and then go find your instrument. Let's try the Music Man. This guitar is so sick. Oh, I think I'll just have to plug direct in. A lot of coordination required to do this properly. Obviously, make sure to tune. I'm going to go ahead and mute this track 4 here. And then I'm just going to try and record some guitar. So probably play some higher chords, like something like that. Okay, that's sounding dope to me. Let me just nudge it over. The screen recording software makes it offbeat. Let's try the take before that. Okay, dope. Okay, I've never tried this before, but it looks like an audio effects rack. Ableton has some guitar amp options. So let's try some of these. Like that one. All right. Dope. Let's nudge that forward a little bit and see how it sounds. Sick. Perfect. That's adding actually a lot of feel to it. One thing I want to do is I do want to EQ it. Let's just navigate to our EQ8, drag that after, and I just want to scoop out some of the lows and some of the highs, just to kind of add a bit of that lo-fi sound. And we can also play with the reverb amount. Yo, low key, this is pretty sick for Ableton. Now that we've got our guitar recorded and processed, let's go ahead and try some bass really quick. Once again, don't forget the tune. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mute our regular bass and just loop this pattern and try to play something cool. Okay, hopefully we have something there that we can use. Gotta nudge it over because that's screen recording software. All right, that might be better with these long notes here, like this. Let's go ahead and copy our compressor from our other bass, just to sidechain it. Let's also go ahead and paste that on our guitar after our EQ. This is sounding like some Connor Albert stuff. All right, what do we got in terms of amps? Basic bass amp, let's try that. Maybe chubby bass? Fat bass? I guess we can try EQing that. That's kind of thick. Dang. Hey. So that's our option if you're a musician and you can play the chords in. Just adding some bass and guitar sounds sick. Or if you don't have bass and guitar, this is what it's like with Ableton stock plugins. You can go ahead, add some more effects. So you got some options. Now that we've got our kind of basic lo-fi beat built, how do we make it even more lo-fi? Well, let's go to the master channel. If you have Pro L, which you probably don't. Fool me. But if you do, just copy these settings right here. If you don't, go ahead and just put an Ableton limiter on here. On the independence preset, change the gain to 0, ceiling to 0, and just leave it. Now, I was playing with some options earlier, and probably your single best bet when it comes to that lo-fi sound is just dragging an EQ before this limiter and just lowering the lows and the highs. Like before, after. Another option, and we could just type in vintage up here, and we can try this vintage tape channel. And at first it'll sound kind of intense, but if we play with these settings, we can get something that sounds pretty vintage. Another thing we can do is we can use Redux, which is its own plugin right here. We can try vintage sampler, and then we can increase the rate. And that's just a cool way to kind of reduce the bit rate, the bit depth, whatever it is. It just makes it sound a little bit more lo-fi. And lastly, if we press Command T and make a brand new track, and we go to the left here where it says vinyl distortion, and we drag crack onto that new track, all of a sudden we have that vinyl sound on demand. We can lower it a bit, of course, but it's pretty cool. You can play with the density. So without the lo-fi plugins, just kind of a dope hip hop beat, but with this lo-fi chain, it really is a vibe. And I don't like using that word because I feel like people use it in a lazy way, but this is totally a vibe. You can even use some of these EQ presets. Like under filter, they have gentle vintage, or instrument, they have E bass vintage. You just drag these onto the master. Just give you some ideas. I'd say the biggest thing is just to make sure that your limiter is at the end of this chain, but you can do whatever you want. You can make this as lo-fi as you want. You can make it slowed and reverbed, but just by dragging a reverb onto it. The possibilities are endless with this kind of stuff. And the biggest thing is that you actually take some action and you try making a lo-fi beat. Honestly, like, what do you have to lose? Just open up Ableton, throw some samples in, draw in some chords using my music theory video, and see what happens. And for a vocal example, here is just a random acapella I found of some song that I wrote that never came out. Let me out, let me out, let me out. I got you on my baton now. So tell them that you're moving on now. I need you to come and let me out, let me out, let me out. I got you on my baton now. So tell them that you're moving on now. Sounds pretty good. And if we wanted to add some effects, which I know I didn't get into too much, we can add something like chimes. Let me out, let me out, let me out. Why do they sound like that? Oh, it's because it's redux. That makes it sound crazy. Let me out, let me out, let me out. Anyway, I could get carried away. I could keep chipping away at this for hours and just tweaking stuff. But at the end of the day, just use the 5-element formula and really focus on those first 3. Get your drums going, get your bass going, play with some mid options, and explore. The best producers are the ones that produce on a regular basis. Some of you guys out there are totally satisfied just perusing YouTube videos and picking some helpful stuff up here and there. But some of you are going to want to go above and beyond. And for you guys, I have a full-fledged course. It's a step-by-step program that teaches you everything you need to know in order to make professional quality music from beginning to end. And that's called Complete Producer Pro. And I also just finished a course on EDM, just called EDM Producer Pro. And that one comes with the bigger course. So if you want to learn how to make music, I got you covered. And if you specifically want to make dance music, I just added a bunch of new material on that. And I really believe it's going to help you so much. If that sounds like something you're into, just go to the link in the description of the video. I'll put part of the course there for free and you can check it out and just go from there. So all that to say, remember to stop making excuses and start making music. Cheers. Cool lighting in the back though, huh? New studio's awesome.